Yate, she Denise Ryan Unishia, Kia Ani and Shle, Bilagana Bushes Chi, Hanagati Dashid Che, Bilagana Dashanele, Chinli Danasha. This is how we introduce ourselves in Navajo. We say, or what I said is, I call myself Denise Ryan, and I introduced you to my clans. Kia Ani is my mother's clan, and that is translated to the Towering House clan. Bilagana was my next clan, that is my father's clan. We don't have an exact name for Irish, but that's my dad's clan, and we just call it the White People clan. And then my next clan is my mother's father's clan, and that's called Hanalachni. It's called the One Who Walks Around clan. And the last clan is Bilagana, which is also my dad's clan, so both his parents would be the White People clan. And Chinli Danasha, that is where I come from, the town of Chinli, which is on the Navajo reservation. I asked my daughter, what should we share about our Navajo tribe? And she said, tell them we're the biggest tribe ever. So that is one thing that I've definitely shared with my kids, is that the Navajo Nation is the largest tribe. We have the largest landmass, largest reservation, I should say. The Navajo reservation is probably bigger than the size of West Virginia, or I like to say bigger than Ireland, since that is something I can relate to since my father is Irish. And we have the largest tribe in terms of membership and population. We have over 350,000 members in our tribe. A lot of people think the Cherokee Nation is the largest tribe. A lot of people identify as Cherokee, but in terms of actually being members of the tribe, it's slightly lower. And the Cherokee Nation also has two bands. There's the Eastern Band Cherokee, and then there's the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma. And they're two separate nations, even though they are a similar tribe and probably carry similar traditions. They are two separate nations. So when you add them together, they probably are bigger than the Navajo Nation, but they really are two separate nations. So in essence, the Navajo Nation is the largest tribe with the largest reservation in all of the United States. And because of that, we do have a very strong tradition that has been kept alive because we are very close on our reservation. We're very isolated. We kind of have what we call the land that nobody wanted. They stuck us on the desert, and we were still able to farm that land and keep our families close. It's the land that no one really wanted, so we haven't historically been affected by colonizers coming onto reservation land. Even though I'm from Arizona, we have 22 federally recognized tribes. In all of America, there are over 650 federally recognized tribes. That actually means there are more Indian tribes in America. It's just that the federal government only recognizes certain tribes. There are certain criteria to be recognized by the federal government. One of those criteria is a land base. And if you think about the time when America was discovered and what we call colonized, the first thing that the colonizers took was the land. So a lot of the tribes on the East Coast in particular, because that was the first part of America that was discovered, lost their land. So a lot of those tribes still exist as a cultural group and a cultural unit. They just do not have their land base anymore, so they no longer exist as a federally recognized tribe. However, they still exist as a tribe within their own right. In upstate New York, where most of you kids, I assume, are from, is the most probably famous group of Indian nations called the Iroquois Confederacy. I'm sure you've heard of them. I like to remember the acronym SCOOM, S-C-O-O-M. They were the original five tribes of the Iroquois Confederacy, and later a sixth tribe was added, so then it was T-SCOOM. So SCOOM was the Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and the Mohawk. Those were the five tribes that were part of the Iroquois Confederacy, and they were a very important force to be reckoned with. And then they later added the Tuscarora Nation. They were a tribe that came from the south up into Iroquois territory and became part of the Iroquois Confederacy. So if you want to learn about tribes in your area, that's a good place to start, is the Iroquois Confederacy. In my tribe, we have very strong cultural traditions. Our language is very strong. Our Religious practices are very strong. A lot of people ask us what our religion is. Our religion is just Navajo. That's what we practice, is our own beliefs and our own practices. There's not really a specific name for it. We do our own dances. We do our own prayers. A lot of that is based on the language. So language is a very big and important part of all of our practices. So because every tribe is different, we all have different important ceremonies that we practice. In the Navajo tradition, one of the biggest ceremonies is for the girls. We call it a coming of age ceremony. The Navajo word for it is called a kinota. It's essentially becoming a woman ceremony. And I think traditionally there was also one for the younger men, but it was a little bit different, and they don't do those anymore. Some ceremonies have unfortunately died out. Some other tribes do carry on those traditions as well for the young men. They do some coming of age ceremonies for boys who become young men. But like I said, every tribe is different, so every tribe has their own different ceremony, and all of the ceremonies are based in language and traditional dance and traditional clothing. And every tribe has their own different language, their own different dances, and their own different clothing. So if you want to learn about tribes, you got to pick a tribe and see what that tribal practice is. We do have a lot in common in that, you know, our language is important, our cultural practices are important, but they're also very different, and they vary from tribe to tribe. One more thing. In Navajo, we do have a word for goodbye, but not many people use it because it's almost like a final goodbye. So the goodbye word is hagoane. We don't use it very often. The word we like to use is hagoshi, and that's just technically is like translated to okay then. So when you end a phone call, we say hagoshi. It's like okay then. The other person says hagoshi. It's like okay then, okay then. We don't like to say hagoane because that's almost too final. So we do have a word for goodbye, but I'm not going to use that because I don't like to say goodbye. So hagoshi, thank you. Ahehe is thank you. Ahehe.